Good morning, good people of the state. Good morning, Nigeria. And it's nice to have you join us today on AM Today, reaching you live from the studios of the State Radio Vision Corporation, Osrc. My name is Folashade Ogidon saying welcome on the train this morning. And I'm not alone this morning. I've got with me Olubukola Oba. It's nice to have you, Buki.
Good morning. Good morning, dear viewers. It's another beautiful edition of AM Today. Welcome to the show where we share with you the information that is currently going on in the state, in the country, and around the world. So don't go nowhere to stay with us as we bring to you important conversation that actually matters to you.
Alright, as Buki has said, we're going to be taking you through the newspaper's headlines, and we have quite a number of newspapers this morning that will be giving you some highlights, from the inside stories. With me, I've got The Nation and the Daily Trust. And
well, I have Punch and the Nigerian Tribune.
Alright, beginning with the Nation newspaper this morning, had this headlines. Southwest will be better off with a president's return, says who? Well, an All Progressives Congress shifting and South-South coordinator of the 20 million terms for Tinubu support group, Jimmy Oma Agege, has said the region stands a lot to benefit if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is allowed to return to power for a second time. The group, while declaring its total support for Tinubu, said it will ensure the success of the APC across the South. And this declaration follows a high-level strategic meeting convened by the group's leadership aimed at unifying the entire South geopolitical zone to guarantee a seamless continuity for President's administration. Well, details of this you would find in the Nation newspaper for this morning.
I'm going to be taking my first story from Punch newspaper. Workers threaten indefinite strike over wages insecurity. The Federal Workers Forum has threatened to mobilize federal workers for an indefinite nationwide strike over rising insecurity in the country and unresolved wage issues. The forum, in a communique issued after an online meeting on Sunday, upbraided the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress for not rising to the occasion and providing leadership in this regard. In the communique, signed by its national coordinator, Mr. Emeleze, and secretary, Mr. Ayo Ogundele, and made available to journalists, the forum accused the federal government of exploiting workers and failing to guarantee their safety. The group said an online poll of its members overwhelmingly backed an immediate strike to address the current hardship and insecurity crisis confronting Nigeria. It said the July 2024 minimum wage adjustment has been a hoax for federal workers. According to the forum, only 40,000 naira was added flat to salaries across all grade levels, and the amount was taxed, leaving workers with much legs. The group was alleged that the prominent 40% peculiar allowance with the head of the civil service of the Federation, Mrs. Didi Walson-Jack, said would take effect from May 1st, 2026, was later denounced by the Office of the Accountant General. For more details on this story, you can find on the Punch newspaper.
Alright, so we take you back to The Nation. On The Nation as well, I have the story. African institutions backs AFDB to reduce dependence on external financing. Says African Deposit and Investment Funds have endorsed the African Development Bank Group initiative aimed at reforming the continent's financial architecture and reducing dependence on external financing. The endorsement was made during a session of the African Forum of Deposit Funds held on the sidelines of this year's AFDB annual meetings in Brazzaville. The session examined just taking it okay this at the same time the continent holds about $4 trillion in managed savings through pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, insurance companies, and other domestic financial institutions. The Deputy Managing Director of Deposit and Contingent Consignment Fund, Gabon, that is Ms. Angelique Boka, said deposit funds were critical in converting idle savings into productive investment. A country's sovereignty begins with its ability to mobilize national savings for its priority investments, she said. Also, the managing director of CDG Capital, Mehdi Boris, said deposit funds often invest in sectors overlooked by conventional financiers. According to him, such institutions support financing for local authorities and strategic sectors that struggle to attract private capital. And also the Director of Financial Management Control, Deposit and Consignment Fund, Tunisia, Mr. Mohamed Salem, said the efforts were ongoing to mobilize savings from the African diaspora. He noted that diaspora resources could be channeled into projects that promote economic transformation and sustainable growth. Participants at the forum stressed the need for strong legal and regulatory framework to enable deposit funds operate effectively and independently. They also called for safeguards against excessive political interference and investment risks. The session attracted representatives from several African countries seeking to establish deposit funds and learn from existing models across the continent. It also provided a platform for shaping experiences and best practices among deposit funds, investment funds, and assessment management institutions. That's a more you find in the nation.
All right. From Nigerian Tribune, Governor Makinde warns against protest over abducted students and teachers. Oyo Governor Seyi Makinde has appealed to residents, families, and concerned citizens to pray for the safe release of students and teachers abducted in Orire local government area, warning that protests could embolden their captors and undermine ongoing rescue efforts. The governor made the appeal on Sunday while speaking at the birthday and retirement Thanksgiving service of the outgoing head of service, Mrs. Olubumi Oni, held at the Christ Apostolic Church headquarters, Basharun, Ibadan. The governor said security agencies and government authorities are working tirelessly to ensure the victims' safe return. Makinde noted that banditry and terrorism remain major security challenges across the country, stressing that kidnappers should not be given attention, that could embolden them. Our reality is that bandits and terrorists are at our doorstep. I want to encourage the family members of the children and teachers who were kidnapped, he said. This is not the time for protest. Terrorists and bandits do not think like normal people. If they did, they would not be carrying out such acts. Protest at this moment may only fuel their ego. We are doing everything possible, and this is the time for all of us to work together rather than apportion blame. For more details on that story, you can find on Nigeria Tribune.
Still talking about efforts at rescuing the Oyo kidnapped victims. Tinubu approves 1,000 forest guards for Oyo, deploys special rescue team for adopted pupils. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the recruitment of 1,000 forest guards in Oyo State and ordered the deployment of a specialized security team to intensify efforts to rescue pupils and teachers abducted from 3 schools in Orire local government area of the state. The president also pledged to consider the request by residents for the establishment of a military base in the affected area as part of measures to strengthen security and prevent future attacks. The decision was conveyed on Sunday by a high-powered federal government delegation that visited Esile and Yawota communities following the adoption of pupils and teachers from Community Grammar School, Baptist Nursery and Primary School, and LA Primary School on May 5th. The delegation led by the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, told residents that the federal government remained fully committed to securing the safe return of all the victims. According to the delegation, the President approved the recruitment of 1,000 forest guards in collaboration with the Oyo State government to improve surveillance and security in forested areas frequently exploited by criminal elements. The team also informed community leaders and lawmakers that their request for a military base in the area would be forwarded to the President for consideration and approval. In addition, Tinubu directed a specialized security unit with advanced rescue capabilities to intensify ongoing operations aimed at securing the release of their abducted pupils and teachers. Other members of the delegation included the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Rubadu, the Inspector General of Police, Tunji Disu, the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, retired, and the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Public Communications, Sunday Dari. That is it from the nation.
All right, I'm still on the back to the Punch newspaper now. IG cautions against indiscriminate recording of police operations. I beg your pardon. Inspector General of Police Olatunji Disu has cautioned content creators, social media users, and members of the public against the indiscriminate recording and circulation of police-related videos, warning that such actions could undermine security operations and demoralize officers. The IG expressed concern over what he described as a growing trend of recording police officers during routine and sensitive operations and posting such content online without proper context. Speaking during an interactive session with crime correspondents in Abuja on Sunday, he said, "Yes, accountability is important and we remain committed to transparency. However, recordings and public engagement involving police officers must be done responsibly and should not be used to harass officers or undermine operation effectiveness." According to him, while the Nigerian Police Force remains committed to accountability, transparency, and respect for human rights, public scrutiny must be balanced with operational realities and the welfare of officers. Disu said police personnel continue to make significant sacrifice in the discharge of their duties and should not be subjected to actions capable of discouraging them. Police officers operate under extremely challenging conditions, often risking their lives to protect citizens and maintain public safety. For more details on that, you can find on Punch newspaper.
Okay, still on insecurity, former defense spokesperson Rabi Abubakar, wife abducted in Katsina. The story says the former director of Defense Information, Rabi Abubakar, and his wife have been abducted by suspected bandits in Katsina State. The couple were reportedly traveling towards Katsina on Saturday when gunmen intercepted their vehicle in Matazu local government area and took them away. Abubakar Ali, spokesperson of the Katsina State Police Command, confirmed the incident. He said the police has already launched a manhunt to rescue the general and his wife. Ali said the attack occurred at about 11 a.m. on Saturday when the assailants, armed with dangerous weapons, intercepted a red Peugeot 406 saloon carrying the general and his wife and traveling along the route. Says the driver, Abdullahi Sahid, sustained a gunshot wound to his right arm during the attack. The general and his wife were abducted before security operatives arrived at the scene. He said the commissioner of police had visited the scene for an the spot assessment and deployed additional tactical units and resources to support rescue efforts. Oh, that will be it from the Nation newspaper this morning.
Okay.
You see, security concerns keep growing, and
Yes,
virtually
across the
all the
country.
stories we've taken today had
about
something,
insecurity.
yes, had something to do with insecurity. Just as the president is trying to nip some in the bud, some others are rearing their ugly heads. Well, we hope that all the efforts at securing the nation would,
Well, but we must commend the federal government for at least deploying people to the forest to at least
engaging 1,000 assistance
people to combat this insecurity issue. At least let's just hope that this is going to be it's going to yield positive results.
Positive results, and
Okay.
hoping that the children especially will
Of course,
return,
will be returned home safely sound
soon.
and safely to their parents.
Okay, move on.
Moving on now to Nigerian Tribune. 2027 suspense over Jonathan's participation continues as ex-president keeps mum. 24 hours after the Tanimu Turaki-led People's Democratic Party (PDP) ratified former President Goodluck Jonathan as its presidential candidate for the 2027 polls, there was still no official word from the former #1 citizen on whether he has accepted or declined the offer. The Nigerian Tribune made frantic efforts on Sunday to get confirmation from some associates and close contacts of the former leader without success, as suspense over his intentions remained palpable. One of his most visible promoters, Honorable Fred Agbedi, who represents Shagbama Ekeromo Federal Constituency of Bayelsa State in the House of Representatives, did not respond to inquiries by the newspaper about Jonathan's reaction to being picked as the Turaki-led camp's presidential choice. Several of his other contacts also kept mum when reached on Sunday to discuss the issue and provide a clear direction. The National Publicity Secretary of the Interim National
Or they will be given tickets and their names submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to contest in the general election. So far, neither certificates of return nor party flags have been given to announced winners of the primaries in the state. Major parties like the All Progressives Congress (APC), the African Democratic Congress (ADC), and the National Democratic Congress (NDC) have recorded complaints arising from the primaries. INEC had in its election schedule for 2027 slated April 23rd to May 30th for the conclusion of all primary elections, including hearing and clearing of appeals. So since the deadline falls within non-working days, it is expected that all the loose ends will be tidied up soon. Well, let's hope for that.
Okay, moving on now to still on Nigerian Tribune. Nigeria needs Makinde's leadership in 2027. Osun APM Guba candidate. The governorship candidate of the Allied People's Movement (APM) for the August 15 Osun State governorship election, Wale Adebayo, has stated that Nigeria needed the leadership of the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde. The Osun gubernatorial candidate said this in a congratulatory message for his emergence as a presidential candidate of the party for the 2027 general election. According to him, Governor Makinde's remarkable achievements in infrastructure, education, economic development, and transparent governance has positioned him as one of the most effective governors in contemporary Nigeria. Adebayo stated that at a time when many Nigerians are facing economic hardship and uncertainty, the party offers a credible alternative capable of restoring hope and rebuilding public confidence in government. Explaining the significance of the party's symbol, he noted that the cassava logo of the APM is more than a political emblem. Speaking on the forthcoming Osun governorship election, he described the August 15 poll as a defining moment for the state. He, however, reaffirmed its commitment to inclusive leadership and pledged to work tirelessly to deliver a government that reflects the aspirations of the people of Osun State. Governor Seyi Makinde represents competence, courage, accountability, and people-oriented leadership. His track record in Osun State shows that government can work for the people. I am confident that the same vision and capacity will serve Nigeria well from May 29, 2027, he added. For more details on that story, you can find on the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, ADC. New judge fixes Wednesday for Nafiu Bala's suit against Mark Aregbesola. The story reads, Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed June 3rd for hearing in a suit filed by Nafiu Bala Gombe, seeking to stop David Mark and others from parading themselves as leaders of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. The news agency of Nigeria reports that hearing notices have since been issued and served on lawyers to the parties in the suit. The case filed by the aggrieved former National Deputy Chairman of ADC was earlier before Justice Emeka Nwite of a sister court. The matter was, however, reassigned to Justice Lifu following Justice Nwite's recent elevation to the Court of Appeal. The National Judicial Council, at its 111th meeting on May 13th, had recommended the appointment of 12 new justices to the Court of Appeal, including Justice Nwite, to President Bola Tinubu for approval. Gombe, in the suit, is seeking an order restraining Senator Mark, the embattled national chairman of ADC, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, the national secretary, and members of their interim national working committee from parading themselves as the party's leaders. He had argued that the emerging party's leaders breached the provision of the party's constitution and the Electoral Act. Gombe had sued ADC, Mark Aregbesola, Independent National Electoral Commission, and Ralph Nwosu as first to fifth defendants, respectively, in the suit. Well, that's it. Will be the story from the Daily Trust.
Okay, still on Nigerian Tribune. Moving on to world news now. U.S. ready to restart attacks on Iran if task fail, Exet. The United States Defense Secretary Peter Exet says that the U.S. was ready to restart attacks on Iran if a deal could not be reached. He said this on Saturday as negotiators from the U.S. and Iran worked to bridge the differences that are restricting the two nations from reaching an agreement. Exet disclosed in Singapore their ability and capability to commence the attacks if necessary. Our stockpiles are more than suited for that, both there and around the globe. So we are in a very good place, he said. Speaking at the Shangri-La Dialogue, Asia's premier forum for defense leaders, militaries, and diplomats, Exet revealed that the U.S. has not turned its back on the Asia-Pacific region despite being engaged in conflict with Iran. We can do two things at one time. We are supercharging our defense industrial base so that we are building 2 times, 3 times, 4 times the munitions very soon to ensure that all of our operations plans are properly funded throughout the world, he said. The Pentagon chief commended the leniency of Donald Trump, describing him as being patient and wanting to make a great deal that would deny Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. For more details on that story, you can find on Nigerian Tribune.
Our last story is going to be from the Daily Trust. Police arrest suspected kidnappers and robbers in Jigawa, Nasarawa. Police have arrested suspected kidnappers, armed robbers, cattle rustlers, and thieves, and recovered firearms, stolen livestock, and other exhibits in separate operations in Jigawa and Nasarawa states. The Jigawa State Police Command said it arrested several suspects involved in kidnapping, armed robbery, cattle rustling, theft across different parts of the state between May 22nd and May 29th, 2026. The command spokesperson, Seisu Lawan Adam, in a statement said the operation led to the recovery of fabricated rifle, 3 motorcycles, 6 sheep, and other items. And with that, we call it a wrap on the newspaper's headlines for this morning. Yes, we'll be taking a short break now, and when we return, it will be time to take some moments of discussion with our guests. You don't want to miss. Please stick around.
Across Africa, the story of civilization cannot be told without the story of its women. The nurtured families, the sustained economies, the preserved culture and tradition. From farms to markets, from homes to communities, African women have long carried the quiet strength that holds society together. Yet, history often remembered the thrones and forgot the women who helped shape them. But across this continent, there were daughters whose courage, wisdom, and leadership left indelible marks on history. Among the Yoruba people of West Africa, women were never strangers to influence and power. History remembers Orompoto, the only known female Alaafin of the Great Oyo Empire, at a time when leadership was largely dominated by men. Orompoto rose to the throne and defended the kingdom with courage and determination. From the same royal heritage emerged another remarkable woman, Princess Pupu of Zazo rose as a formidable warrior queen. She led military campaigns that expanded her kingdom and fortified its cities with walls that history still remembers today. Another remarkable, through a network of educators, she brought knowledge and learning to women across the Sokoto Caliphate. Further west in Ghana, Yaa Asantewa, the queen mother of the Asante Kingdom, led a historic resistance against colonial forces in defense of the sacred golden stool. In the kingdom of Dahomey, women took extraordinary roles in defending their land. The Agoje, an elite all-female military regiment, stood among the most formidable fighting forces of their time, led by fearless commanders such as Sedonhobe. In southern Africa, Princess Nkabai played decisive roles in royal succession and political strategy within the Zulu kingdom, shaping the destiny of her people from behind the throne. And in Ethiopia, history remembers powerful women who stood at the center of empire. Empress Seitu Betul helped lead the resistance that defeated invading forces at the Battle of Adwa, preserving Ethiopia's sovereignty. Years later, Empress they did so, would ascend the imperial throne herself, ruling as one of Africa's rare female sovereign monarchs. These women were not exceptions, they were evidence that the African woman has always possessed the wisdom to guide, the courage to defend, and the strength to lead. Today, the African woman continues to shape society in new ways. She's a farmer feeding communities, a teacher shaping minds, a doctor saving lives, an entrepreneur building businesses, a leader influencing policy and governance. Africa reflects on its future. One truth becomes clear. The destiny of the African girl child must be seen beyond narrow expectations. Women working together, because Africa does not rise when men rise alone. Africa rises when her daughters rise too. Today, we celebrate the daughters of the continent, past, present, and future. For among the young girls walking to school today may stand the next builders of nations, the next voices of courage, and the next heroines of Africa. Alright, thank you so much for staying with us. It's now time for our first discussion on the show today, and we are going to be looking at the topic confronting organized crime in Ondo State and how prepared are our security agencies. And to help us on this discussion, we have in the studio the DSP Abayomi Jimo, who is the Police Public Relations Officer, PPRO of Ondo State. Welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so to start with, let's talk about organized crime, which is becoming more coordinated across the country, even sophisticated. But can you tell us how prepared are
around security? But Ondo State Police Command remains unwavering. Like we have demonstrated over time, the command is always ready. We have crossed our T's and dot our I's. Our eyes, and we are also not leaving any stone unturned when it comes to combating organized crimes. Just like we all know that organized crime is more or less like a premeditated crime.
Yes,
so it's a syndicate offense. And the Ondo State Police Command, we have always put in place our men, both the ones that operate overtly and covertly, in certain critical flashpoints and places whereby they are needed, to ensure that we do not allow any breach of security in any part of the state.
All right. Looking at Ondo State used to be one of the safest places in Nigeria. You know, when people are talking about the serenity, the peace that we enjoyed in the state, you know, before. But that can't seem to be the case anymore, because we now have skeletal attacks, you know, here and there in the state, especially when you talk about, for instance, the Akure North local government area of the state. We've been having some sort of incessant, you know, Akure, Lisha, Ikpili, and some other places, you know, not to mention on the program. Then you mentioned that organized crime means it's being premeditated. So one would want to ask, why is it that it seems security forces, let's say the police for instance, are not proactive instead of reactive?
In Ondo State Police Command, we are very, very proactive. In fact, one of our mantra has always been that we take the fight to the criminals. So we don't allow them to perpetrate their crimes. And the testament to it is the couple of successes we have achieved in recent times. Well, some of these we foiled a kidnap attempt in Owo. That was about 2 weeks ago. Okay. And we also weeping against courtism and other vices in which the Commissioner of Police has also consented to. And we have our people there talking to people, enlightening them, giving at least to tackle the incident, the kind of crime around that axis. And for the central, which is the Metro, the Akure and the Ondo. Okay. So the Commissioner of Police also has also placed robust place. You know, the central is more or less like the metropolis, and we have the modern crime, maybe the traffic offences, the burglary and stealing, and we have also deployed enough personnel.
So are you saying there are not much security challenges linked to cross-border criminal?
No, I'm taking it one after the other. So that is after the central, but going down to the north, that's where we have the Akoko, the Ikares, and the likes, and these are the places whereby we've been having a couple of challenges. Okay. You know, they are very close to which they are the border parts of border areas of the state, so to say. Okay. And if you look at that, the prevalence of crime in that area is not far-fetched, but so, and that is why we have embarked on continuous community engagement with the people living around those axes. Okay. Just last week we had community engagement with the leaders from those forest axes. Of course, you agree with me that these forest axes, they are being used as farmstead for people where we have farming camps. Yes. And a lot of camps are already there where we have a good number of citizens there. So we have spoken to the group, to the leaders, especially those ones that cut across the Ikpele axis, the Ifon axis, and they have proffered to us solutions and ways we can partner to ensure that they do not allow any breach of security around that axis.
This is the 21st century. You've mentioned that you're using community police relation to nip some of these incidences in the board. But crime in the state, how much of technology are you deploying on the state command, for instance, to combat crime?
The Ondo State Police Command is, like I said, much to the criminals, to kidnappers. So we've had a situation where we even exchange suspects, whereby, okay, for example, if we are investigating a case and we have a suspect that appears with the Amotekun or with other agencies, we share intelligence, we share them. So, and it has helped us in living in the board crimes and criminalities in the state.
Okay, well, you made mention of sharing intelligence with the Amotekun, but can you help emphasize more on this Amotekun role? Is the community policing working in the state when we talk about the role of Amotekun? Is it really working?
Yes, community policing is working very well because the Ondo State Police Command and Amotekun, we have been working together as seriously.
Can you tell us some improvements so far between?
No. We've
their hands, you know, it's a better way to go. So how are you trying to develop the public trust, you know, in the police force in Ondo State, so that citizens do not take laws into their hands?
The issue of that issue you just raised now is very historic. It is not something that is prevalent with Ondo State Police Command. We have demonstrated it a number of times that once you come to us, you give us credible and actionable information. We will give you 100% confidentiality. We will tackle we will handle it, approach it with care, with utmost care, and it has worked for us in the state. So we've been able to, with the collaboration with the community, with the citizens and everybody, what we can only say is that we call for more collaborations, because security of lives and property is not one man's show. So they should just join us with us to ensure that we fight crimes in the state.
Of course, so you know that you rely on public for at least for some
due diligence in investigating and prosecuting the case accordingly.
All right. So security issues are sometimes linked to social and economic issues. So can you say that what role can you say unemployment, drug abuse, or poverty plays in organized crime in Ondo State?
The role of drugs and unemployment,
poverty.
Yes, it is. You know, it is not an excuse for you that you don't have a job, that you commit crime. It is not, and that is why the police is always there. The police is almost everywhere, and we have even taken a step further by creating a unit that is a police campaign against cultism and other vices. We will be going to the
gẹ́gẹ́ bí abiyamọ mo rí ìpèníjà fún ọmọ mi nítorí ẹ̀ ni mo ṣe máa ń fún ní Bonvita mu lójoojúmọ́. Bonvita ń fún wọn ní agbára láti máa yege lójoojúmọ́.
Progress no dey happen just like that. E dey come from support when you need am.
Mommy, I got the school fees. You too much.
Na money point o.
Money point, thank you.
Customer, na transfer abi? Confirm.
Bro, na transfer.
Na money point oga. Oh, na confirm.
Progress na peace of mind when you know say payment go land as Sure Banker. Progress na small wind wey dey carry person go far.
No worry, yourself go make am. No go buy ball.
Victor, even you dey use money point?
Of course na, they use money point.
Confirm.
Money point, made for you.
Gẹ́gẹ́ bí abiyamọ mo rí ìpèníjà fún ọmọ mi nítorí ẹ̀ ni mo ṣe máa ń fún ní Bonvita mu lójoojúmọ́. Bonvita ń fún wọn ní agbára láti máa yege lójoojúmọ́.
Thank you for staying with us. We are still on the topic confronting organized crime in Ondo State and how prepared our security agencies. And to help us to have more on this topic is DSP Abayomi Jimo, who is the PPRO Ondo State Police Public Relations Officer. So, DSP, we were talking about the challenges we are facing, the security challenges we are facing in Ondo State. So to talk about the child abuse, Chade, you wanted to ask a question about child abuse earlier.
I was going to ask that among some of the crimes that we have in Ondo State, there is most of the time reported the cases of domestic violence, especially violence against persons. We've had minors raped, within a family setting and all of that. And people often say that the disposition of the police when they report such
of fact, the command has a department that is gender-based violence unit, whereby it's cases that involves rape, defilement, gender-based issues entirely, where it is being investigated, and we do our due diligence by charging them to court. But this one we just mentioned, it is not known to the command, and maybe if there is any specific complaint, we will have it and we will address it appropriately. And the Ondo State Police Command also, we have other sections and units whereby we check ourselves. So because we are not masters of all, in case if there are issues or any unprofessional conduct, we have sections, we have units, we have the community. We have the CRU, that's the complaint response unit. We have the provost section. We have the command monitoring unit. Okay. So these units are there to checkmate the excesses of the men. Of course, you know, we are still surmounting, and we will always surmount the challenges, and we will prioritize, like we have always done, the protection of lives and properties of the good citizens and residents of Ondo State.
Especially with the new CP, you know, in the state. So
of course, like I said it in my foreword, that the new CP is a professional and an astute police officer who has over 3 decades experience, and he has worked far and wide. The Commissioner of Police has worked. He started his police work in Ondo State, and he also did area commander in Ondo State. So he's a police officer who knows the terrain. He knows how to go about everything, and that is why you will see that since his assumption of duty, the state has been more calm than it used to be.
Okay, your final words to the residents. How should they support the police going forward in sharing intelligence and some other things? Can you admonish them?
My number as the PPRO is rolled out on every platform as well, so you can always reach out to us if you have any issue or anything to discuss with us. We promise you 100% confidentiality and security.
Thank you so much, DSP. Thank you. And that will be all on this segment this morning. We're going to take another short break now. When we return, it will be time for the next discussion. Just stay with us.
Michael Adekunle Ajashin, born November 28, 1908, was a distinguished Nigerian educator, politician, and statesman renowned for his integrity, commitment to democracy, and transformative impact on education in Nigeria. Born in Owo, present-day Ondo State, Ajashi began his education at St. Andrew's College, Oyo, from 1924 to 1927, where he trained as a teacher. He furthered his studies at Fowler Bay College in Sierra Leone, earning a Bachelor of Arts degree in English, Modern History, and Economics in 1946. He then obtained a postgraduate diploma in education from the University of London in 1947. Ajashin's career in education commenced with his appointment as principal of Imadi College in Owo in 1947. He was instrumental in staff development, encouraging teaching. In 1963, he founded Owo High School, serving as the first principal until his retirement in 1975. Ajashin's political journey began in the 1950s as a founding member and national vice president of the Action Group, advocating for policies such as free education, universal health care, and Nigeria's immediate independence. He served as a federal legislator from 1954 to 1966. In 1979, he was elected governor of Ondo State under the Unity Party of Nigeria (UPN), with Akin Omoboriwo as Ekiti University in 1982, now Ekiti State University, and the Polytechnic Owo. In the 1983 elections, Ajashin was initially declared the loser amid allegations of electoral malpractice. However, the Supreme Court later reinstated him, affirming his victory. His tenure was cut short by the military coup on 31 December 1983. In 1939, Ajashin married Babafunke Tenabe, a fellow educator. They had 4 children, including Olajumoke Anifowoshi, who later served as Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Ondo State. Ajashin's commitment to democracy was evident in the 1990s when he became a leading figure in the National Democratic Coalition, NADECO, advocating for the restoration of democracy and the recognition of MKO Abiola's electoral mandate. His activism led to his arrest in 1995 under General Sani Abacha's regime. In recognition of his contributions, Ondo State University was renamed Adekunle Ajashin University in 2000. His governance style, marked by simplicity and incorruptibility, remains a benchmark in Nigerian politics, as he once stated, and I quote, "I came into office in October 1979 with a set of my own rich native dresses and left office in December 1983 with the same set of dresses. No addition, no subtraction." His legacies continue to linger in memories, generation after generation. She was called the Lioness of Lisabi, a name that roared through the halls of colonial power and echoed in the hearts of women across Africa. Her name is Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, a teacher, activist, feminist, nationalist, and mother to legends. But before the fame, there was fire. Born on October 25, 1900 in Abeokuta, present-day Ogun State, Nigeria. Fumilayo was born Frances Abigail Olufumilayo Thomas. She came from a family that valued education, and in 1914, she became the first female student at Abeokuta Grammar School. Determined and brilliant, she later traveled to England for further studies, a rare feat for a Nigerian woman at that time. There, she trained as a teacher, absorbing ideas of equality and freedom that would shape her life's mission. On returning to Nigeria in the 1920s, she married Reverend Israel Ransom Kuti, a clergyman and educator. Together, they worked to uplift their community through education. But Fumilayo was not content with just teaching. She saw how colonial rule and traditional structures oppressed Nigerian women, and she decided to act. In 1947, she founded the Abeokuta Women's Union, one of Africa's most powerful grassroots women movements. The group fought against unfair taxation and the corrupt practices of the Alake, the traditional ruler of Abeokuta. Thousands of women led by Fumilayo marched in protest. They sang, they chanted, they occupied, and eventually they won. The Alake was forced to abdicate. Fumilayo Ramson Kuti was fearless. She was one of the few Nigerian women to drive a car, to travel widely, and to speak truth to power. Her activism didn't stop in Abeokuta. She was a founding member of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, a member of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroon's NCNC. And in 1953, she became the first Nigerian woman to visit the Soviet Union, a move that earned her the label Communist Sympathizer by British authorities. But she wasn't deterred. In fact, she was emboldened. In her later years, she focused on broader issues: education, voting rights, women participation in politics. She advocated for the inclusion of women in leadership and resisted Nigeria's slide into authoritarianism. She raised 4 children, including Fela Anikulapo Kuti, the legendary Afrobeat pioneer, instilling in them the spirit of resistance and truth. But tragedy would eventually come. In 1977, during a brutal military raid on Fela's compound, known as Kalakuta Republic, Fumilayo was thrown from a second-story window by soldiers. She never recovered from the injuries, and on April 13th, 1978, she passed away. Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was more than a mother, more than a teacher. She was a symbol of courage, of resistance, of dignity. She paved the path so Nigerian women could walk tall, speak freely, and fight for justice. Her legacy lives in every classroom, every protest, every woman who dares to say enough is enough. This was the story of Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, the lioness of listening, a voice that cannot be silenced, a spirit that lives on.
Welcome back. It's still AM today on your favorite show, Osrc Television, or your flagship current affairs show on Osrc Television. Now it's time we move to our next discussion on the show today, and we are going to be looking at environmental sustainability in Ondo State, the policies, the progress, and the prospects. To help us shape this discussion is Dr. Tope Luko, the Commissioner for Environment in Ondo State. Welcome to the show.
Yeah,
Honorable.
thank you for having me today.
Okay. So to start with, let's talk about the state of the environment in Ondo State. The environment plays a major role in public health, in economic development, and even
What I mean by that is that when you're talking about the environment, you're talking about external features, the all circumstances, the totality of all the circumstances that affect the biotic and the abiotic component of the biosphere, which remains a life zone. What I mean by biotic component is the human elements, where the living organisms within the environment, they are biotic. The abiotic are the non-living things within the environment, and all of them have the biosphere, that is the life zone. So when you talk about environment, you're not talking about generally the earth surface. You are talking about that sensitive portion of the earth that is inhabited by human beings and other organisms. So in Ondo State, when we're talking about environment, we're not talking about the forests. We're talking each of these zones to collect waste. But where the crisis really is the inability of the PSPs we have engaged to cover all the zones. So those people who are living in the zone covered have cleaner environments, and those areas where we don't have PSPs currently working have waste issues that we are dealing with, especially during the night. Those people who are living in those interiors where we don't cover park their waste to the roadside. And when you wake up, you see waste, liquid waste collection, and also for private waste collection. That will substantially address the issue of...
that process is ongoing?
Yes, that process is ongoing, and in the shortest possible time, we're going to have trucks to address the issue of waste disposal in the state.
Because really, the people of Ondo State cannot wait longer to see the effects of the...
Keep loaders are dustbins
for waste collection. Yes, I saw quite
and so we are not being lip service.
So when are they going to be distributed?
Well, in the shortest possible time. I don't want to give a timeline, but it's in the shortest possible time they will be available for use. Okay. Then waste collection or waste management, as it were, is a collective responsibility. It is for all of us. Yes. In your compound, for example, if you have a place where you park your waste for proper disposal, you have contributed to the cleanliness of Akure or the state in your own little way. Yeah. So if everybody is disposing waste properly where he lives, I will have a very clean community. So it's not about government. Everybody blames government. The government has its own responsibility, but the citizens too have the responsibility to dispose waste properly to see that we have a clean state.
All right. Talking about responsible disposal of waste, in some clime, you have the segregation of this waste. The kitchen waste and the dry waste. Everything are not packed in the same container, as it were. Are you doing anything, sensitization, maybe encouraging citizens to, separate their waste so that we can, because there's this waste to wealth thing. How much of that is Ondo State willing to harness?
Yes,
to better the
first
economy?
of all, you talked about sensitization.
Yes.
This is one of the avenues for sensitization. Okay. So what you're doing is also to sensitize the people to say that the right thing is done. What you've talked about is waste characterization. All right. When you characterize, when you examine them carefully, you have municipal solid waste, medical waste, food waste, and very many of them. So it is the onus is on those people separating, generating them to also separate. And it takes sensitization, education for them to do that. We are on it. That is one. When I looked at the topic you sent to me, you talked about
to organic fertilizer.
Yeah, that can be composted. Then even the trash cans that we use as waste bins can also be gotten from waste recycling. Even polymats, polybags, all of them. Like pure water is non-biodegradable. That's another very sensitive component in the waste configuration of the state. Non-biodegradable in the sense that if you have a sachet water kept somewhere it will be there for as many years as possible. It is just like plastic. So if you keep a plastic somewhere, you can be sure of seeing it the same way in the next 450 years.
Yes.
So it's non-biodegradable. So the best way to manage it is to recycle it.
Home consume some bags in a day. So how much of this is Ondo State recycling as present?
Yes. If
Do
you
you
look,
have collection points?
if you look at the environment sector, Ministry of Environment is the parent ministry. Do you understand that? Then we have agencies under Ministry of Environment. You talked about the relationship between the Ministry of Environment and the waste management. The ministry, the waste management is under Ministry of Environment. We supervise waste management. Then we also have Ondo State Environmental Protection Agency in the Ministry of Environment. So OSEPA, that is the acronym. OSEPA is working on plastic waste recycling. Mr. Governor, as a matter of fact, has graciously approved a portion of land for plastic waste recycling activities to take place in Ondo State. That is plastic.
To take place.
To take place. So we are working perimeter fencing. So we are working on them. Mr. Governor has graciously enlisted the services of an expert. He has been appointed anyway as the technical assistant to the governor on flood matters. He is doing extremely well. He understands the operations of the excavators, and he moves them from time to time to all those flood-prone locations for channelization activities, particularly in the riverine area. And last year, if you remember, Ondo State was not listed as one of those states that was ravaged by flood, and it is because of the intentionality.
Sorry, please. Has any channelization been done in the riverine area this year? Because I took a trip to SLD local government recently, and some journalist friends that we were there together, you know, reminisced on the time where we had this.
They embark on the icing, clearing activities and other related activities to free up the coastal routes for people to freely use. But this year, this is not a platform to lie. We have to face facts. This year, we have embarked on the water icing, clearing activities in the large areas of the local government. I'm not saying that what we have done is enough. We'll continue to work on that, but this year we have taken that bold step.
Well, bringing you back to the flooding in Akure, recent reports have shown flooding in Alagbaka area. That's one of the major places in this.
Where in Alagbaka?
I can categorically tell you that between Fiwashaye and
drawing the attention of the Ministry of Infrastructure. I think there are those structures attended to.
All right. Some time ago, the state was rated one of the cleanest states in the country, but that can't be said of the state recently. So what efforts are you making to return the state to that position?
Well, why I will not beat my chest to say that Ondo State today is the cleanest, I will agree that Ondo State is the dirtiest.
So you're in the middle.
Yes. We are somewhere in between.
Yes, we are not the dirtiest state.
Okay.
I admit that our waste management effort has to be strengthened, but we are not the dirtiest. I don't think. We have dump sites.
Okay.
We have dump sites.
Okay.
Akbomu. Now that's
somewhere
the biggest one.
Along Adesopa there, is that a legal one? There is a kind of valley, you know, there between the hotel and
that is illegal. That's an illegal dump site because it's not a designated dump site for people to. Is it people just go and drop their waste there? If you have your waste uncollected in your premises, you have the responsibility to say government is not doing anything. Then you also have the responsibility to draw the attention of those in charge of waste management within the government. But a situation where such a situation does not arise, and you just decide on your own to pack your waste.
Okay, so what about people burning their refuse?
That's
the contribution to
yes,
climate change as
yes,
well? How is this going to be managed?
Not just burning, that's incineration. Incineration, yes. It's a serious offense.
It is an offense.
It's an offense, serious
offense. So are you saying if I should burn something in front of my house
you'll be arrested and prosecuted.
Okay, but there are people who are still practicing this, of course.
It's an offense.
Okay.
It's an offense. You know why it's an offense? When you burn your waste, you generate greenhouse gas.
Yes.
Greenhouse gas are sent to the
Atmosphere.
not just the atmosphere,
Okay.
the stratosphere, where you have the ozone layer. And it is very deleterious, very harmful to the ozone layer. It depletes it. And whenever the ozone layer is depleted, it comes with attendant consequences. You remember global warming. That is what then change in the temperatures and weather patterns.
Yes.
Those are issues that affect people. Those are climate change issues.
Yes.
So we do not expect that citizens built to these issues. It affects everybody. It affects construction, it affects agriculture, even it affects our social lives. When you're supposed to go out and it is
Well,
raining.
I think more people do not even know about this global warming and climate change issue. But what is the Ministry of Environment doing to ensure that more citizens are aware of what is happening? Now, fine, you talked about sensitization, what you're doing currently, but what other measures are in place to ensure the sensitization of people, especially on this global warming and climate change issue?
The climate change issue is one of the integral components of our mandate as a Ministry of Environment, and we are taking it by the scruff of the neck. What we are about to do now is to establish eco school clubs in all tertiary institutions, in all secondary schools, in all primary schools. It's not even an initiative of this government. It's an initiative of the federal government that we're about to domesticate in Ondo State. Now, the essence of having those clubs across our schools is to inculcate in them the need to keep the environment clean, adopt eco-friendly practices to see that we live in clean, safe, and healthy environments.
Okay, well, still on the global warming issue, one of the most painful thing that happened is currently the submersion of the Ayetoro community because of this rising sea level, rising sea levels. So what's been in place what interventions are currently underway to address coastal erosion and rising sea level affecting
global warming,
yes,
or something like global warming of sort, extreme heat, it penetrates the earth. It melts, this sea level rises.
Yes. So, it's affected
so
coastal communities.
Yes, Ayetoro is affected. The government is making efforts in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Environment to embark on the reclamation activities, and also PADEC too is making efforts along that path to reclaim those lost portions, to see that the issue of Ayetoro at least is reasonably addressed.
What's being done
Then
to this
for those areas that are yet to be affected, this is another medium for us to talk to our people on what we feel is the right thing to do, is to embark on the tree planting. Tree planting.
Okay.
When an area is not affected, but is very close to the ocean, you plant a tree there. When the tree grows up, no amount of coastal erosion can erode that portion of the land, because it has roots that have gone into the earth. You're getting it? So tree planting is the way to go for those areas that are yet to be affected. Then for those areas that are already affected, reclamation efforts.
So
let's even talk about this tree planting thing, because one of the ways to curb the depletion of ozone layer is through tree planting, and some citizens have raised concerns that in some places where we had flowers, greenery in the capital city, the flowers removed and then substituted with concrete.
Okay, now you are posed an issue that is indeed a Siamese twins. Now, okay. For example, you are talking about tree planting. Why should we go the way of tree planting? Tree planting is for beautification. Then it's also for climate change adaptation.
Yes.
If you have, then it's also for carbon sequestration.
Sure.
Yes. This exchange of oxygen and
dioxide.
carbon dioxide. No, it helps the health. So it's for carbon sequestration. When you have enough trees absorbing oxygen, then
Absorbing
carbon dioxide and
Yes.
giving you
Your
oxygen,
oxygen, yes.
it promotes your health.
Yes,
That is one way to look at it. Then for beautification, it
in the Aitoro community area. What is the government doing for these people who are currently displaced, who their communities have been submerged with water? Are there provisions for them to stay currently? Because of course most of them are displaced, and I'm sure they have no place to stay. So what is the government doing for these people?
The
currently?
government of Governor Lucky Orimisoye is very passionate about attending to ecological issues in that place. And for those that are displaced, unfortunately, our brothers and sisters displaced, there are plans for them. I talked about reclamation. When those lost lands are reclaimed, are filled up, houses will be built, then they will be resettled.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not as if we're insensitive. They are our brothers. Those are the places we also go back to. Our families are there, everybody.
Those
That's a
targets
goal.
and your
Yeah,
goals,
those are our targets.
Okay.
So I talked about establishment of eco school clubs
Yes.
to inculcate in our people.
That's like 3 now.
The 3. Then in whole, sustainability of the environment is the ultimate.
So, in terms of beautification of the state, do you have any targets out towards the beautification of the state as well?
It's tree, yes, tree planting.
Tree planting.
And tree planting. But don't forget,
How many
there is
trees
an
are
issue.
you targeting?
There is an issue.
Okay.
When we say tree planting, we have economic trees too. Then we have urban trees. So it is important for me to make this clarification. It's not economic trees I'm talking about.
Okay.
It is urban trees, which are meant for improving